就是错过这个生育年龄的这个女人就报废处理了。之前
A few days ago, I heard a 38-year-old man discussing his views on women, and his remarks left me utterly shocked. He claimed that the greatest value a woman has in marriage lies in her reproductive ability, and he even used a car metaphor to explain his point. He said that a woman's reproductive ability is like the engine of a car. After the age of 30, this engine loses its function, meaning she no longer has reproductive value. As a result, he argued that such women should be considered scrapped and should no longer linger in the dating market. He was very blunt about it, saying that he would absolutely not choose a woman over the age of 35, no matter how beautiful, well-maintained, highly educated, or accomplished she might be. He used another cold metaphor. It's like a car. No matter how good the exterior or interior looks, if the engine is scrapped, would anyone want to buy it as a collectible? What's the point of collecting it? What value does it have? Hearing this left me completely dumbfounded. This was the first time I had encountered such a viewpoint, and I felt extremely angry. In my opinion, it's men who actually miss the optimal age for reproduction, not women. As long as a woman has a normal menstrual cycle, the quality of her eggs can be ensured. On the other hand, as men age, the quality of their sperm gradually declines. Moreover, this man himself is already 38 years old and still hasn't found a partner, which in itself speaks volumes. Perhaps fate has destined him to remain single, and there's no need for him to make such sweeping and critical judgments about women. Men like this clearly lack self-awareness and yet are quick to impose standards on others. Do you think his words make any sense?
我34岁，硕士学历，2套房2辆车，之前年薪30万。
I am 34 years old, with a master's degree, 2 properties, and 2 cars. Previously, my annual income was about 300,000 yuan. Now that I am older, my income has decreased to around 150,000 yuan. If I were a man, I might be considered a highly desirable catch in the matchmaking market. Perhaps many women would like me, and I could even choose a partner with my eyes closed. However, simply because I am a woman, at 34 years old, as I grow older, it seems that I have lost the so-called value in the matchmaking market. The people introduced to me as potential partners are either older, unmarried men who are penniless and have nothing, divorced men with several children, or even single men from rural areas with no stable jobs. I feel deeply puzzled. Why is it that when a woman gets older, no matter how outstanding she is, she seems to be completely unrecognized for her value? This is truly something I cannot understand. Is it really the case that an exceptional woman, simply because she lacks an advantage in age, is destined to be overlooked or forced to settle? This phenomenon leaves me feeling both confused and helpless.
Some men always say that women over the age of 25 are no longer suitable for so-called excellent men, and that older women supposedly lose their value. Fine, let it be so. It's not like we have to be eager for their attention. Women are not objects, commodities, or tools to be sacrificed at someone else's convenience. We have value in ourselves. Whether you are excellent or not, it's entirely my choice to reject you. So what exactly is the definition of an excellent man? High income? Good looks? And then what? Will their high income all be handed over to me? Will their property all be registered in my name? Or will they curb their bad behavior for my sake? If you can't do any of that, then what makes you so excellent? The term excellent man has seemingly become the ultimate goal for some women to pursue throughout their lives. Sacrificing their own needs, sacrificing their lives, compromising and settling, only to waste their precious years in vain. But what's the point of this? Relationships are unpredictable. Who can truly control the outcome? Instead of revolving around others, why not take charge of your own life? Women should be independent, strong, and self-loving. Only then can one truly enjoy a happy life in old age. The stronger you are, the better your life will be. The weaker you are, the more likely you'll attract bad partners. If you spend your entire life trying to please others, you'll only end up suffering. Some men casually comment that women lose their value as they age. To that I want to ask, when your mother grows older, why don't you find her undesirable? Judging women by their age is a blatant disrespect to their own mothers. Those who define women by their age are trash, and those who measure relationships by age are merely merchants. Trash belongs in the garbage heap, and merchants should stick to talking business, not emotions. Every stage of a woman's life has its unique beauty. I cherish every phase of my life. Women have the absolute right to choose who they want to be with, or to choose not to be with anyone, simply because they don't want to or are unhappy. Though I'm already 35 years old, I still love my age and feel proud of it. I don't need to care about how men see me, that's a reflection of their taste, not my worth. I won't doubt my own value because of others' opinions, nor will I make hasty decisions just because I'm getting older. Age has never been the determining factor for happiness. I only trust in my own capabilities. As long as I remain strong enough, my world will naturally become better.
告诉女人一个真相，这是一个心知肚明。
I want to share a harsh truth with women, a truth that many are aware of deep down but are reluctant to voice openly. A woman's value is at its peak between the ages of 20 and 30. This period is her golden age. However, after the age of 35, this value begins to decline gradually. Over time, the downward trend becomes more pronounced. By the time she reaches 40, this value may have diminished to just 30% to 40% of what it once was. If a woman reaches 45 or even 50 and has already gone through menopause, then this so-called value almost ceases to exist. Some older single women may still live in a fantasy, believing they remain youthful and attractive, even thinking their charm is as strong as it used to be. But in reality, as age increases, this allure diminishes significantly. If a man shows interest at this stage, more often than not, it is driven by physiological needs rather than other forms of attraction. More importantly for men, there is no shortage of options to satisfy such needs. Therefore, older single women should not indulge too deeply in these rosy illusions, but rather face reality and recognize the changes that come with aging.
就现在2024年，居然还有女性定义女生的终身价值就是嫁人。
On this very day in 2024, it's surprising to see such stereotypical views still defining women. Some people believe that a woman's ultimate value lies in getting married, claiming that as women age, they become less and less valuable. They even argue that if a woman cannot get married, she should reflect on her own shortcomings. This perspective is hard to agree with. They also propose a sweeping generalization. Every woman wants to get married unless she has no other choice. To be honest, I only agree with part of this statement. Everyone wants to pursue happiness unless they have no other choice. Pursuing happiness and living in a community where one is cared for and loved is a basic human instinct. However, times have changed, especially for women like us. Let me speak plainly. We now have money in our pockets. We can afford to buy our own cars, houses, food, and drinks. And we are more than capable of living fulfilling lives without having to marry someone just for survival. This is completely different from the past when getting married meant staying alive, isn't it? Of course, I'm not saying that women who choose to marry early lack capability. But honestly, I've always found it strange. Women like us, who don't casually settle for just anyone to marry, are actually taking responsibility for our own lives. It's a responsible choice. Yet somehow, we've become a target for others' random criticism. They use all sorts of unpleasant remarks to judge us, saying we have problems, saying this or that about us. But those who say such things never reflect on whether they even have the right to judge someone else's life. Do we ever turn around and say to those who marry early, "Are you just trying to be someone's unpaid baby-making machine? Do you think you can't survive without a man? Or is it because you lack the ability to live independently and don't have a financial foundation, so you need a man to provide for you?" We don't say these things because we respect every woman's choice, whether she chooses to marry early or not marry at all. For that reason, why should women make life harder for other women? If people could interfere less in others' lives and stop projecting malicious assumptions onto others, the world would be a more peaceful place. Instead of criticizing others, it's better to learn to keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, it only makes others see you as pitiful. Finally, I want to emphasize this. Women of the new era are no longer the group that needs to rely on men to survive. We have financial independence, life skills, and a spirit of autonomy. We can completely choose the direction of our own lives without being bound by outdated evaluations. I hope everyone can show more respect for others' lives rather than judging them based on old-fashioned views.
现在啊，经常在宣扬一些什么姐弟恋啊、老少配啊什么的。
In today's society, there is frequent promotion of relationships such as older women dating younger men or age gap relationships. This phenomenon makes me want to say that while it's undoubtedly good for women to maintain self-confidence, we mustn't put too much faith in phrases like a woman's charm endures, or the older you get, the more valuable you are. These statements can be uplifting and motivating, but if taken too seriously, they may lead to misunderstandings or even harm. No matter the age, especially as we grow older, it's crucial to remain clear-eyed about reality. For example, most women in their 30s find it difficult to compete in certain aspects with women in their 20s. Take youth, appearance, and physical strength for instance. These advantages typically diminish noticeably by the time a woman is in her 30s, while they remain the strong points of younger women. Therefore, my view is that women beyond their youth shouldn't compare themselves to younger women in terms of youth and appearance. Especially for those who believe they have a great figure or stunning looks, there's no need to boast about it or assume they can outshine women in their 20s. To be honest, no matter how well middle-aged women take care of themselves, it's genuinely difficult to surpass 20-something women in these external attributes. After all, these advantages are closely tied to age and cannot simply be altered by effort. As for claims like men prefer mature women, or men admire women with enduring charm, these are mostly rare occurrences. Occasionally, we may see celebrities or influencers who are older yet still popular, but this is often more due to their star power rather than their age itself. So don't let these isolated eye-catching examples mislead you or give you blind confidence. Self-confidence and arrogance are two different things. Once you pass a certain age, it's even more important to recognize reality. Indeed, in their 30s, women might not hold advantages over younger women in terms of youth and looks, but this doesn't mean they lack value. On the contrary, there are certain qualities that younger people find hard to match. For example, first, life experience. This is a wealth accumulated over time. By the time you're in your 30s or 40s, if you still feel you lack life experience, you've truly wasted the years. Whether your life has been simple or complex, these experiences contribute unique value to your growth. Second, professional skills. After working for over a decade in any field, be it IT, service, or other industries, you're bound to have amassed some expertise. If you've been working this long and still don't have any standout strengths, then it's a sign of laziness. Third, personal charm. By this age, you should have a deep understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses and be able to highlight your advantages. This kind of charm doesn't mean being flawless, but rather showcasing a distinctive charisma that's been refined over the years. Some might be humorous, others logical, and still others decisive. These traits, like a fine vintage wine, only become richer with time. Fourth, elegance and conversation. Women in their 30s and 40s, even if they don't have the advantage of youthful looks or a perfect figure, can still exude higher levels of elegance and eloquence through accumulated experiences. A demeanor that matches one's age can also become an irreplaceable form of allure. In contrast, youthful appearance is fleeting, while elegance and inner cultivation can endure. Fifth, intellect and abilities. Whether it's critical thinking or problem-solving skills, decades of accumulation and practice should give you a clear edge over younger people. These are the true hard strengths that come from time and effort, unlike the soft strengths of youth and appearance that fade with age. A truly wise woman understands what to prioritize at each stage of life. Women in their 30s and 40s should avoid fixating on comparisons involving youth and appearance. Instead, they should focus on excelling in other dimensions, surpassing their peers and even younger people. Only in this way can we truly live clearly and avoid falling into the false fantasies woven by others, deceiving ourselves with thoughts like I'm still young or I'm still beautiful.
每当听到女人25岁就走下坡路之类的话，我都无比庆幸。
When I hear someone say, women start to decline after the age of 25 or women have no value as they age, I often feel fortunate that I didn't rush into marriage at a very young age. At that age, I didn't have enough wisdom or experience to discern a person's true character. I could have easily encountered those who are adept at disguising themselves. Before marriage, they might seem gentle and considerate, appearing to be the ideal partner. But once married, as time passes and the wife's youth and beauty fade, their true nature begins to reveal itself. They might shirk responsibilities at home, becoming idle husbands while indulging in lavish pleasures outside, seeking excitement and novelty. If the wife has neither the looks of her younger years nor the financial means to become a wealthy woman, then in their eyes, she would no longer be worthy of care or respect. Of course, I'm not saying that everyone behaves this way, but it's undeniable that in youth, one is more likely to encounter such individuals. Back then, I was timid, indecisive, and had a typical people-pleasing personality. I always tried to cater to others, yearning for acceptance. If I had recklessly entered marriage at that time, I can hardly imagine the suffering and disappointment I might have endured. Given my mindset and experience at the time, I would likely have been manipulated, exploited, or even broken by my partner in various ways. That scenario is simply unimaginable. Now, at 31, while I may no longer attract as much attention as a woman in her early 20s, I'm also no longer easily controlled or manipulated. I've learned to stand my ground and no longer blindly accommodate others. Compared to the naivety and fragility of my younger self, I now have a clearer understanding of what I want and how to protect my boundaries. I've never feared not becoming a wife because marriage has never been my ultimate goal in life. What I care more about are the destinations I aspire to reach in life and how many more stops I can take to get there. Even if some people believe that women inevitably decline and lose value as they age, I'm immensely gratified to know that I'm walking on my own path, with a light step and a free spirit. My life, what I eat, wear, and use, is entirely supported by my own efforts. This independence fills me with confidence about the future and shields me from rigid labels or societal biases. A quote that has left a deep impression on me is, "From now on, the world before me points to wherever I want to go, and I completely and absolutely govern myself." This quote has profoundly inspired me and become a steadfast belief in my heart. Today, I am gradually realizing this complete control over my life. No matter how others judge me, my freedom and happiness remain firmly in my own hands, and my future will always be decided by me.
Do older unmarried women really lose their value as they age? What should they do? At my friend's matchmaking company, there are always a number of older unmarried women seeking advice. Most of them are 34, 35, or even 39 years old, and they have neither married nor had children. Every time I see this, I feel a deep sense of regret and even disbelief. I often wonder, over all these years, what have you been busy doing? You should know that for many women who are 39 years old, their sons are already 18, and some are even preparing for their second child. In comparison, your life seems to have progressed much slower. Many women fail to realize that every stage of life has its own priorities and tasks, and the time to accomplish these tasks is limited. For instance, between the ages of 22 and 28, the focus should be on finding someone trustworthy and entering marriage. If a couple works hard together, life is often much easier than fighting alone. By the time you reach your 30s, most people are already having their second child. Even if they divorce, they likely already have children, and living independently with children is not uncommon. This is why I feel a complex mix of emotions when I see so many women in their 30s or even 40s who are still unmarried and childless. So, if I were to give some advice to older unmarried women, my first suggestion would be, don't hold too strong an obsession with marriage. Stop thinking about marrying first, then having children. Modern society no longer requires adherence to this sequence. As long as you can find a man willing to co-parent with you, you can act. There's no need to wait for marriage to formalize the arrangement. Grasp the opportunity to have a child that, in my view, is the most important thing for older unmarried women. Here's a real example to share. I once met a 42-year-old woman who had never married or had children. When she consulted my friend's matchmaking company, she mentioned that she had met a man in his 50s who was widowed. This man was willing to have a child with her, but because of her age, natural conception was not possible. This man was even willing to spend over 1 million renminbi to help her pursue IVF or other methods to make this happen. She asked my friend, "Sister, should I really do this?" My friend's advice was, if someone is willing to help you fill the biggest regret of your life, why not seize the opportunity? Later, she actively started the process and threw herself into having a child. So, my core advice is, if you're already in your 30s, don't obsess over marriage anymore. Instead, consider having a child first. It's the most realistic and meaningful choice. Of course, if you're in your 40s, still unmarried and childless, or simply don't want children from the bottom of your heart and haven't found the right person, then my second suggestion would be, look for a widowed man. Generally, Widowed men have children whose mothers have passed away, giving you a chance to fill the emotional void in the family. Through your efforts and care, you might establish a bond that resembles familial affection. If you're unwilling to choose either of these paths, then your final option is to adopt a dog and hire a reliable caregiver to accompany you. At the very least, this will make your later years less lonely. In any case, I still hope older unmarried women will follow my first piece of advice and work toward having a child. Marriage is not something you need to overly worry about, especially at this stage. Remember, if you insist on getting married, the reality is that the remaining choices are often men rejected by others, and even they may not be willing to accept you. So, don't waste time struggling with marriage. Instead, focus on taking action and opening a new chapter in your life. Do you agree with my views? Feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us, and we'll continue to bring you better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.